Hey, Alex! Yeah, I know you're on your honeymoon. Listen, I wouldn't have called if it wasn't important. I'm having a little bit of trouble thinking of a skit for the newest 10-minute testing. No, yes, I know you're busy. I understand. It's Blackwings. Yes. Oh, she's there right now. Hi. Sorry. You know Blackwings come first. Yeah, no, they've got a whole bunch of new support. I'm really excited about it, but I just don't know what to do for the intro. No, they actually don't play Kahoot anymore. Hello?
Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts! I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. Darkwing Blast comes out soon, and with it a whole new slew of silly, interesting decks that all lose to Mystic Mine. For a while, I was faced with decision paralysis. I looked over the array of extremely cool brews I could build, but then I thought to myself, why don't we play Blackwing? But first, this video is sponsored by Into the AM. Into the AM makes t-shirts. I don't know what else you really want me to say. It seems pretty self-explanatory. I guess I can talk about them a little bit. These tees look and feel really nice. They're the kind of shirt that has a cool design, but won't get you made fun of by your relatives. They feel really, really excellent. They're very soft, and they keep their shape extremely well. The prints are vibrant, the colors are gorgeous, and they've got a bunch of really cool designs inspired by science, nature, and the one that I'm currently wearing, which depicts the scene in every Hotel Hell episode where Gordon Ramsay shines a blacklight over all the bedding. They're good shirts, but don't take my word for it.
It looks great!
Alright, that was literally my word for it. They're currently running a bundle deal on graphic tees. You can get 3 of them for $60. But if you click the link below in my description, you'll get an additional 10% off the total purchase price. So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. Now let's bust into Blackwing. Blackwing is an archetype of winged beasts. This is one of those 5Ds archetypes that's really more like a dysfunctional family. There's nothing holding these bad boys together except for their name. And also, Zephyrus has been sleeping around. Some of them can be special summoned, provided you control another Blackwing. Some of them modulate levels to enable powerful synchro plays. Some do both, and some do neither. No wonder their end boss, the Black-Winged Dragon, doesn't even want anything to do with it, as it's not technically a member of its own archetype. Despite this, Blackwing has historically seen a ton of success. After release, it began topping immediately, cementing its position as one of the top decks as soon as the second wave of support hit. As a fan favorite and a representative deck of an anime e-boy, new cards trickled out for years, and it remained a power player throughout the early teens until Dragon Rulers ruined Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever. Even after modern deck-building philosophies emerged, many of the individual cards still saw play. The easily special summoned Dark monsters were right at home in many link spam strategies, and Zephyrus the Elite sees play to this day in some tier limit builds. They even had a stint as top tier in dual links. That said, Blackwing, the strategy, hasn't done much in almost a decade, aside from one very weird Finnish Nationals top.
Got top 4 yesterday at the National Championship.
But that might just change with the release of Darkwing Blast. This set is built around Blackwings and actually gives them some impressive tools. Suthri, the Illusory Spark, adds a card that mentions Black-Winged Dragon on normal and can special a token by tributing a monster on your side of the field. Vayu's Pants-clad older brother lets you cheat out Black-Winged Dragon by tributing itself and foolishing Blackwings until you hit 8 stars. Shamal the Sandstorm is a whirlwind retrain searcher, but also pluses you to no end. Chinook the Snowstrike is a hand trap monster negate if you've got a Dark Synchro. Zonda, the Timely Knight, can be banished from the graveyard to just summon a Blackwing from deck. That's it, just a free special from deck. Add to that the newly unbanned Steam the Cloak, and the main deck's chock full of bannably strong birds. The extras got a few new tools as well. Boreas the Evil Wind is just a straight-up foolish burial, and Black-Winged Assault Dragon taxes your opponent a la Masquerade, then threatens to Zeus the field if they've activated 4 effects. The new cards are equally split between payoffs and playmakers, so let's see if they can play ball. Let's do the card by card real quickly. We've got 3 copies of Seamoon the Poison Wind. This is one of your 2 normal summons. If you control no monsters and have this card in your hand, you can banish a Blackwing from your hand to place a Black Whirlwind from the deck face up in your spell trap zone. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon it without tributing. This allows you to get almost anything from your deck. Our other good normal is Suthri the Illusory Spark, who I explained earlier, but notably, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra the turn you activate her effects except for synchros, which means that you better not be doing rusty shenanigans. We're playing 3 copies of Vata the Knave. If you control a Blackwing other than Vada the Knave, you can special this card, and during your main phase, you can send it on the field and one or more non-tuners that are Blackwings from your deck to the graveyard, whose levels exactly equal 8 to summon a Black-Winged Dragon. You can't special summon monsters from the extra except for Dark Monsters the turn that you activate this. For some reason, they decided it didn't need the Synchro Lock. Of course, we've got the Shamal the Sandstorm, which is just ridiculous. Any time that you're able to send a Blackwing from your hand to the graveyard in order to get something is fantastic, just because of the amount of graveyard recursion the archetype has. 2 copies of Chris the Crack of Dawn, the Duel Links All-Star comes home to roost, quite literally. This card can't be destroyed by spell trap effects once per turn, and it's a free special. Chinook the Snow Strike allows you to target a face-up monster your opponent controls, send a Blackwing Synchro or a Blackwinged Dragon from the extra to the graveyard. It loses 700, and its effects are negated. It's cool that it's Valor plus Kalut, and it's a quick effect if you have a Dark Synchro. Zephyrus the Elite is a card that needs no introduction, but Kunai the Drizzle is. It can be special summoned by tributing a Blackwing monster, and it's treated as a tuner if you do so. Once per turn, you can target a Synchro monster and declare a level from 1 to 8. It becomes that level until the end of the turn, followed by Orochi the Squall. This is one of the modulating Blackwings that can be special summoned from the hand. Zonda the Timely Knight, of course, you only need the one of, because if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it to specially level 5 or higher Blackwing from your hand or deck, then take damage equal to its attack. We've got Steam the Cloak, fresh off the ban list, allows you to summon a Steam token if it leaves the field, once per turn, by the way. And if it's in your graveyard, you contribute a monster to summon it from the graveyard. That's a once per duel, though I guess they just forgot that language on the prior one. After that, we've got a Silent Boots in order to get a Fogblade, because we do go through rusty combos, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Black Whirlwind, 1 of the new Black Feather Whirlwind, which if you special summon a Dark Synchro from the extra deck allows you to target a Blackwing or a Black-Winged Dragon that is banished or in your graveyard and special summon it. You can remove a Black Feather counter from a card you control if a monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect as well once per turn. We've got 3 Prosby, 3 Dark Ruler No More, 1 Called by the Grave, triple Imperm, 1 Blackwing Twin Shadow. Return 2 of your Blackwing monsters that are banished or in your graveyard to the deck or extra deck, a tuner and a non-tuner, to quick synchro a Blackwing Synchro monster or a Black-Winged Dragon whose level exactly equals them. And then if you control 2 or more Blackwing monsters, you can activate this card from your hand. It's a really, really funny trick. After that, we've got 1 copy of Shade Brigandine and 1 copy of Fogblade. Because we make so many 4s and Wise-Strix, we are in prime redoer territory. Here's the boy alongside Rusty Bardish and Wise-Strix, and then for synchros, we've got Nothing the Starlight, 2 Boreas the Evil Wind, 2 Blackwing Dragon, 1 Silverwind the Ascendant, 1 Draco Berserker, 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, full Armor Master, which is sort of Towers, and 2 Assault Dragon. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Tearlament Runic. I like Tearlament, I like Runic, I don't know if I like them together. We're going to have to find something crazy off this pot of prosperity because our hand is pretty mid, and Sea Moon will do it. We're going to activate Black Whirlwind, then activate the effect of the Sea Moon in order to set a second Black Whirlwind, then normal summon a monster with 1600 attack points. This allows us to add from deck to hand 2 Blackwing monsters. This is just as horrifying today as it was in 2011. We're going to use our normal on Suthri, which will trigger both Suthri as well as both copies of Black Whirlwind, allowing us to grab Vadagarasu, Chinook, and also this Shamal. We'll go for Shamal in order to activate Black Feather Whirlwind, and let's get Vadaing. We're going to go for a copy of Blackwing Dragon, and then of course we can bring back this Vada to go into a Boreas. We'll activate Boreas' effect in order to send Steam the Cloak, then use Steam the Cloak to summon itself and make a copy of Wise-Strix. We'll trigger the effect of the Wise-Strix and the Steam the Cloak in sequence, summoning from deck a copy of Zephyrus the Elite, and then from hand and Orochi the Squall. We'll go for a Rusty Bardish and then protect it with a Borreload Savage Dragon before summoning a Blackwing Assault Dragon, and then summoning back the Zephyrus the Elite before firing off the Rusty to get the other half of our rank 4. We'll go for Shade Brigandine and, a trap and a monster. That's perfect redoer material. We'll pass back to our opponent and take 1,000 for the Sea Moon. We're going to equip in draw phase, and wow, what do you know, a spell card. Our opponent's going to get off of the races with the Tearlaments. They're going to take 700 in the process before activating Merly and Beast. They draw a Super Polymerization. Come on! They'll go ahead and shuffle those 2 back in order to grab a Winda, taking another 700 before firing off the Super Poly, and taking off this copy of Borreload Savage Dragon for a Dragostapelia. They'll go for that, and then of course we will activate Chinook to negate the effect. Afterwards they're going to go for Kitkalos off an instant fusion, which we will negate as well with a Fogblade. They will chain this Runic tip, and now I guess we are just playing this game. After resolution of all of this, they will go for the Fountain, they'll go for the Slumber, and they will protect their monster, attempting to draw 3 cards, to which we will chain our Redoer, putting that back in the deck. They'll go to the battle phase. It's skipped because of the Runic cards, and then end phase, they will resolve the effect of their Hoffiness sent to the graveyard by the graveyard effect of the Kitkalos. They're taking a ton of damage in the process, and actually I don't think we really need to do anything. They're going to chain a couple of Dragostapelias, but this is not an activated effect, which means they're still going to burn for a ton here. Let's just go to combat. Our second match is up against Mathmech, and this showcases one of the deck's biggest weaknesses, an inability to play through board breakers. Our hand is still pretty good, though not as explosive as last time. We're going to begin with a copy of Suthri. That's going to add from deck to hand a copy of Shamal. We'll go ahead and get that Blackfeather Whirlwind, and then summon Vadagarasu in order to go into Blackwing Dragon. From here, we can activate Whirlwind in order to bring back the Vada and go into a Boreas. We'll trigger the effect of the Boreas and the effect of the Shamal in order to add from our graveyard to our hand the Suthri before activating the graveyard effect of Zonda in order to get Kunai the Drizzle and special summon the Orochi for a Wise Strix. We'll trigger Wise Strix. That is promptly Ash Blossomed, no big deal. From here we can activate Zephyros to reset the Blackfeather Whirlwind. We'll do so and then make Rusty Bardish before activating Blackfeather Whirlwind, making Borreload Savage Dragon, and triggering Blackfeather Whirlwind in order to summon back half of our rank 4. From here we're going to activate the effect of the Rusty Bardish. Thankfully we do still have a Fogblade in deck. We'll activate Shade Brigandine and then of course overlay for a Rival Redoer before making a copy of Assault Dragon. We'll set one card and pass back to our opponent, then we'll Redoer in standby phase and get Dark Ruler Raigeki'd. Okay, not a fantastic opening for us. They'll go Small World in order to get a copy of Circular off of their hand trap, then activate the effect of the Circular, sending a Sigma. From here, they can activate the Sigma Engrave to summon it and the effect of the Circular on field in order to grab Super Factorial. They're going to overlay for an Alimbertion. That's for 2. We will, of course, Infinite Impermanence this, but unfortunately, with the Super Factorial in hand, if they have any extender, we are massively punished, and unfortunately they do. They're going to go for an access code line. Of course, we do have the Fogblade for that, but the follow-up from them is just unbelievable. They'll pass back to us, we draw for turn, and the Ash Blossom isn't going to do it. They're going to go for a Laplation here. 3 mats, the Circular, the Sigma, and the Subtraction, which means they can send a Spell Trap from our side of the field to the graveyard, and a card from our hand to the graveyard as well. We'll normal summon this Ash Blossom and resign to our fate. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Danger Tearlament, and our hand's fine. We'll use Sea Moo, banishing Sea Moon, in order to set a Black Whirlwind, perform the normal, and add from deck to hand a Vadagarasu. From here we can activate the effect of Shamal in order to set this copy of Blackfeather Whirlwind, and then normal summon the Steam the Cloak in order to grab Chinook. We'll special summon Vada, activate the effect, and make a Blackwing Dragon. From here we can use Blackfeather Whirlwind in order to bring back Vada, and then make a Wise Strix. We'll trigger the effect of the Wise Strix and the Steam the Cloak in sequence in order to grab a Zephyrus the Elite from our deck, followed by a token. Then we are going to make a Boreas and send from deck to graveyard. Ooh, the normal we haven't gone through yet. Where could we be going? We're going to Zephyros back this Blackfeather Whirlwind, then activate it once again. We're going to activate the effect of the Rusty in order to send from deck to graveyard a Silent Boots. We're going to grab the Fogblade here and then use the Silent Boots in order to make a Shade Brigandine. Then we're going to go Borreload Savage Dragon to trigger the Blackfeather Whirlwind and bring back the Suthri before activating Shade Brigandine and using it as the other 4 for the Redoer. After that, we're going to make an Assault Dragon and pass back to our opponent, taking 1,000 in the process. We're going to use Redoer's effect, and really don't want to see very much in our opponent's deck under the Redoer. Of course, it detaches for effect. Here, we're just going to detach a trap so we don't trigger any of theirs in order to stop Perlino. They're going to go for a Mothman and take 7. They'll activate Mothman's effect and pitch a Nessie, taking another 7. They're going to activate the Nessie effect, taking 7, before activating the Bigfoot effect and taking another 7. Interesting. They hit the Perlino, and oh god, it's a super polymerization. Well, there goes the Taxman. Or not. Or they're going to normal Merly. They're going to chain Droplet to the Chinook. They're going to stop our negation. They're going to take like 1,400 points of damage at point of resolution. They'll go Garua, that's 7 for the Hoff effect. They'll go Dark, that's 7 for the Garua effect. They're going to go Sheeran, that's 7 for both her effect and the effect of the Sheeran they mill, which summons a Kitkalos, which is another 7. My goodness, just go to battle. They're going to take a ton here before we activate the Fogblade, negating the effect of the Kitkalos. They're going to chain the effect of Dinomishus, taking another 7 in the process. They are down to 1,000. They'll go to battle with Zeroboros, but we have way more than 4. Let's Zeus the field, trigger Fogblade, trigger Steam, go ahead and bring back this Rusty Bardish and this token. Our opponent runs over it before passing back with a super polymerization they never discarded for. We're going to go for the Zora here. We grab a copy of Kunai the Drizzle, and we'll normal summon a Vada, and no reason to drag this out. Let's just go to combat. So it's time for game 2, and this hand is not bad. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Merly. They're going to activate the effect we just needed to whiff here, and it does. Oh my god, we could do this! We're going to activate Part of Prosperity here. We're going to find off the top. Any normal does it, and that is one of them! Suthri isn't exactly Sea Moon, but it's still really good. We're going to go for the effect of the Shamal here in order to grab the Black Whirlwind 2 before normal summoning the Suthri and activating the effect in order to grab ourselves... Okay, well, with no Blackwing on our side of the field, we cannot summon any of the cards from our hand. So we're just going to have to set one and pass and hope we don't die. Our opponent's going to go for Mud Dragon. I guess we have to Infip now. They're going to chain Dinomishus, which is frustrating to say the least. And then afterwards, they're going to activate the effect of the Nessie in hand. They are going to hit the Forbidden Droplet, draw a card, go into Dark, activate Dark, bring back our copy of Suthri. Wow, insult to injury. Normal summon Hoff, and... Boy, this is the most boring board I have ever lost to. Okay, let's go to game 3. So it's time for game 3, and ooh, this is a weird hand. It does still do it, but we haven't opened either of our good normals. We're instead going to have to go for, of course, the Shamal here in order to set the Blackfeather Whirlwind. We'll go the Chris and the Vata, then activate Vata to go into Blackwing Dragon. Then we'll activate the Whirlwind to bring back the Vata to make Boreas. We'll activate Boreas' effect and the effect of the Shamal in order to cycle back the Chris, the Crack of Dawn here. We're going to send, of course, the Zephyrus the Elite, then bring it back. And then, of course, you can reset the Whirlwind as well. We'll special summon Chris. We'll activate Zonda Engrave in order to get the Kunai the Drizzle before making a Wise Strix, trigger the effect of the Wise Strix in order to grab a Suthri, and then go into a Rusty Bardish. This allows us to make it to Borreload Savage Dragon, as well as trigger the Black Whirlwind again. We're going to set a copy of Wise Strix in the back row equipped to this Borreload Savage Dragon before activating Rusty to set a Fogblade, then banishing Silent Boots for a copy of Shade Brigandine. I mean, this is the board. You've seen it a whole bunch of times now. Nothing's changing. We'll pass back to our opponent. They are going to allow us to resolve the effect of the Redoer, then normal summon a Rhino Heart. We will infip that. They will Chain Droplet, and negate everything on our side of the field except for the Assault Dragon. Well, maybe we can Taxman them out of this one. We did IRS the first game away from them. They're going to go for the Kit Kalos here. They're going to take another 7. They'll activate the effect. We will Fogblade, and they will reveal that they have learned. Okay, there goes Assault Dragon, and there comes Mud Dragon, and that means that the Kit Kalos is going to resolve. It hits a name, which is good enough. That's going to allow them to go into, what is this? Lulu Karis. Oh my goodness. Okay, they're going to go into Dark the Dark Charmer here and bring back my Kunai the Drizzle before going to the battle phase. We'll just redo her as a comedy joke. They'll walk over the entire field except for the Suthri. So I'm thinking potentially there's a scenario I can come back. This board isn't super imposing, but it's what it represents that's really frightening. We're going to go into a Blackwing Dragon again. We'll activate the effect of the Shamal and the effect of the Blackfeather Whirlwind, but that's going to get stopped by the Lulu Karis, which of course can then be brought back immediately. I am not looking forward to this card coming out. We are going to activate the effect of the Blackwing Dragon. Don't get to say that often, but they're going to activate the effect of the Hoffiness as well, which hits both Sheeran and Murley. That is functionally the end of the game. They're going to go into a Garua as well as into a Kit Kalos. So trigger the effect of the Kit Kalos in order to grab from deck to hand a Rhino Heart. We'll go to the battle phase and at least eat the Lulu Karis, but that's all we've got. And they've got a full field on the Crackback. Oh, come on. We don't need that. They're going to go for Steam the Cloak. That's my card. Why couldn't you be like the Steam the Cloak on the other side of the field? Idiot in hand. Ugh, it sucks that this is even the better Blackwing deck. They'll make Kaleido Heart, send my last remaining monster to the graveyard, turn their monsters to attack position, and get in for well over lethal. Yikes. So we're back with the deck, and I know Alex could have piloted it better. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. It's pretty funny what the new cards enable you to do. Because Blackwings are terrible, Konami is willing to print cards like Seamoon that just read Cheat the Normal Limit, and cards like Vata that just read A Synchro is whatever you want it to be. 2. Assault Dragon is so funny. The effect isn't really activated, which means, like Masquerade, sometimes you just get to steal games because your opponent went to 100 life points trying to out your mediocre board. And 3, some decks just don't have an out to Full Armor Master. And the cons. 1, if you're not able to see one of your normal summons, Suthri or Seamoon, you literally cannot do a damn thing. You're left with a handful of 2013 bulk and not much to do with it. 2, board breakers. As people pivot from hand traps onto cards like Super Poly or Dark Ruler, this deck gets a lot less good. All of these monsters are dark-winged beasts, which puts you at risk of Garua and Starving Venom. And 3, it's taxing to play. Not the same taxing as Assault Dragon, mentally taxing. Part of toolboxing is that you need acute knowledge of the tools that you've got. That's something that's not easy to learn, and you're doing so in service of a mid-deck at best. All in all, it's the best build of Blackwing in years, though at this point that means quite literally nothing. Honestly, this is a deck I think even Gage stands a shot against.